Could it all be a bad dream or a nightmare? Is it my imagination, or have we lost our minds? It's surreal. It's just not believable. A grand absurdity, a great deception, a delusion of momentous proportions.
CISPA represents an alarming form of corporatism as it further intertwines governments with companies like Google and Facebook. It permits them to hand over your private communications to government officials without a warrant.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to introduce a very simple piece of legislation to repeal the infamous Section 1021 of the National Defense Authorization Act. Section 1021 provides for the possibility of the U.S. military acting as a kind of police force on U.S. soil, apprehending terror suspects, including Americans, and whisking them off to an undisclosed location indefinitely. No right to attorney, no right to trial, no day in court.
Governor Romney, as president, would you have signed the National Defense Act as written?
Yes, I would have, and I do believe that it's appropriate.
Congressman Paul, a different question.
You were included in the question in the first place. Do you want 30 seconds to respond to this?
I need a minute. No, I think we're going in the wrong direction for the protections of our liberties here at home. They're under deep threat. The Patriot Act has eliminated the Fourth Amendment. Now, with the Military Appropriation Defense Act, this is major. This says that the military can arrest an American citizen for under suspicion, and he can be held indefinitely without habeas corpus and denied a lawyer indefinitely, even in a prison here.
What have we allowed ourselves to become? Are we no longer a nation of laws? Have we become instead a nation of men who make secret arrests? Are secret prisons now simply another tool of the federal government law enforcement? Is torture now an acceptable tool for making us safe? Unfortunately, the single answer to all of these questions from the leaders of our country and to many of our citizens appears to be yes. And now we are told that assassination of foreigners as well as American citizens is legitimate and necessary to provide security for our people. It is my firm opinion that nothing could be further from the truth. Today, we hardly hear a whimper, either from the American people or a stone silent U.S. government as our cherished liberties are eradicated.
Congressman Paul, this same line, you want to abolish the TSA.
Look at the monstrosity we have at the airports. These TSA agents are abusive. Sometimes they're accused of all kinds of sexual activities.
Carol says she didn't think much about what the female TSA agent said until later.
She says to me, "Do you play tennis?" And I said, "No, why?" And she said, "You just have such a cute figure."
What do you think the government might do to us if we all had a national ID card?
Well, they would monitor everything that we do. And surveillance, the lack of privacy. It's always for good purposes. Everything is for good, and they're going to get rid of illegal immigration. They're going to find the criminals, but they're also going to monitor every single person, everything they do. It's sort of this idea of why not have cameras every place on every street corner, because we'll catch the bad guy. Well, why don't they have cameras in our house in case there's child beating or wife beating? I mean, that's when one thing leads to another. You either believe in freedom or you don't.
What about, Congressman, you know, the people who are fired up about this, yes, they recognize it would result in somewhat of a loss of civil liberties, but they're very concerned about illegal immigration.
There is never a need to sacrifice liberty in order to protect liberty.